What's happening, party people? It's your man, Stephen Bardo, coming at you with another edition of Bardo's Breakdown. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Things are heating up in the Big Ten Conference. We'll get into all that here in a second. Just want to thank you guys for tuning in to Bardo's Breakdown. I appreciate you spending your hour here on Monday evenings with me. If you want to join the tribe that is the inner circle of Bardo's Breakdown, please text me to 312-847-2739. That's 312-847-2739. Plus, I want to encourage you guys to go to bardostribe.com, BARDOS tribe.com, and get your free copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. Cool little guide. I use hip hop and jazz references when talking about college basketball. I think you guys would enjoy it. It's free, y'all. It's free money. Just go to bardostribe.com. There'll be a pop-up window. Put your email in, and you will automatically get the newsletter. I come to you about once a week. I don't blow you up. I don't spam you. So if you'd like to join the newsletter, there you go. So it's been an interesting week. Let's start off with the Big Ten Player of the Week. Wow. Terrence Shannon, you guys, when he came back from his suspension, obviously it took him a chance to get readjusted, but man, has he been balling. 29 points the last two games. He had 31 against, I think that was Michigan State? Michigan. He had 31 against Michigan. He had 28 against Maryland, just playing his 27 against Maryland, playing his tail off. You see his numbers right there, and it's so good to see because of the things that he's been able to overcome. He's still kind of in, I don't know what the legal situation is in Lawrence, Kansas, but I tell you what, he seems to have gotten refocused in a hurry because the numbers he's putting up are outstanding. It's so good to see. And I'm happy for the dude because he's put the work in. He's overcome some adversity. He still gets taunts on the road, but it doesn't seem to matter. And the taunts are dying down, thank goodness. So big ups to Terrence Shannon Jr. This should be one of the better accomplishments of the season for him in terms of, just overcoming all that he's having to deal with and still playing at this level is something else. And I've seen a mock draft. He's back in the lottery, according to certain mock drafts. So hopefully he can get this legal situation rectified because he's got a bright future. Tell you what, Owen Freeman's making it easy on my man Ryan to develop this graphic because he continues to be, this is his 9th Big Ten Freshman of the Week award. And I mean, he's really doing his thing, man, in terms of the way that he's playing and the consistency. The game that he had against Wisconsin, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. I read something where there's not been a stat line like this in the Big Ten since 2010, I believe. Just he's getting better and better as the year goes on. The first game, let me see who that was. I can't remember who that first game was, but I think he got in foul trouble. But boy, he played his tail off against Wisconsin. Important overtime victory for them, and Owen Freeman has been a revelation. Young man just keeps getting better and better. So big ups to Terrence Shannon Jr. and Owen Freeman for being the Big Ten Freshman of the Week. Just outstanding. All right, let's get to some of these games. I'm going to put this one. Oh, no, that's not the first one I wanted to put up. Wait a minute. Oh, did I lose? Guys, I had a graphic for the working too fast. I had a graphic. Where is it? Created a bar for the upset of Ohio State over Purdue. Let me do this instead. Since I've obviously I've lost the I lost my little graphic that I made. Hold on. Let me turn that off. Let me pull up this box score. And so I'll verbal this. So it was a 73-69 win. Uh, Obviously, there was a lot of emotion with Chris Holtman being fired on Wednesday. Um, Coach Diebler comes in and is the interim coach, and they're playing with fire and passion, and they get the upset of number 2 Purdue, 73-69. Bruce Thornton was outstanding, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And Jameson Battle, 19 points. No other players scored in double figures. Zed Key had a good game, though. For Purdue, Zach Edey was outstanding, 22 points, 13 rebounds. Lance Jones had 13 points, but he was 3 of 11 from the field. Braden Smith struggled a little bit, 5 of 11, 12 points. He had 7 assists, 5 rebounds, pretty good. He had 3 turnovers. Purdue had 14 turnovers, which is not a lot, but for them, I think that is. And it allowed Ohio State to kind of stick around, hang around. Purdue was 20 for 20 from the free throw line and still lost. They were only 3 of 9 from 3. They only took 9 threes, and Ohio State hit 7 of 21, so they hit 7 threes. That was the difference in the game. But a very emotional victory for Ohio State, and they were able to get the victory. Man, I'm mad I must have lost that inadvertently. So this was the game that I wanted to talk about. Wisconsin loses in overtime at Iowa, 88-86. The Badgers have dropped 5 of their last 6 games. If you guys saw the NCAA mock reveal of the top 16 seeds, Wisconsin snuck in there at number 16, but not after the loss to Iowa. I don't know when they'll do another reveal. They might do them weekly, but I would doubt that Wisconsin would be in there having lost yet again. They looked good. Stephen Crowell was outstanding, 22 points. A.J. Storr had 21. Tyler Wall played well down the stretch and in overtime, but he only had 10 points, and he's really struggling scoring the basketball. Chucky Hepburn was outstanding. He was in double digits, and I believe he had 8 assists. And then on the other side, we talked about Owen Freeman's stat line, incredible stat line. Tony Perkins and also Peyton Sanford, I believe, had 19 points apiece. They were outstanding as well. Great win for Iowa. It's their first quad 1 victory of the season. But Wisconsin, I don't know, because I've got Wisconsin tomorrow. They host Maryland on Peacock. They've got to figure out a way to get better defensively, because when you give up 88 points, I know it was an overtime game, but 88 points, you're not going to win very many doing that. All right, move on to Northwestern. They get a big win at Indiana yesterday. They hang on to win 76-72. They had a double-digit lead, and then Indiana stormed back. Ryan Langborg was outstanding, 26 points. Nicholson, the center for Northwestern, 14 points, a career high, 16 rebounds. Nick Martinelli is really coming into his own. He had 13 points and 13 rebounds of his own. I think that was the first time since the Evan Eschmeyer era of Northwestern that Northwestern's had 2 players with double-doubles in the same game. Boo Buie, I believe he had 13 points. He wasn't his dominant self, didn't need to be with Ryan Langborg and Nicholson and Martinelli the way that they played. Northwestern really showing some toughness, ladies and gentlemen, losing Ty Berry for the season. So they were thin on the perimeter, but they're getting really good efforts across the board. Justin Mullins got time yesterday. I like to see that, because I thought he was going to give them much more, but maybe he's going to start to produce a little bit. But a big win for Northwestern and a crushing loss for Indiana. It's going to be hard for Indiana to have any postseason aspirations. They pretty much have to win out and probably win 2 quality wins in the Big Ten tournament to be even considered for the dance, because they've just lost too many. Right now, not sitting very well. Let me go to the Big Ten standings. Let's see here. Big Ten stand. Indiana's 6-8. They're 14-11. Their resume is not good. They haven't gotten a win against a ranked opponent, and so they're reeling. Ware was outstanding, 22 points, 16 rebounds, and Baco had 20 points, but Indiana started slowly, and they had a furious comeback, but didn't have enough in the end to overcome Northwestern and Ryan Langbor's 26 points. All right. Kanye Clary, you guys, he was one of the leading scorers for Penn State. He suffered a concussion, and he had to sit out 3 games, and Penn State won them all in impressive fashion. And you could kind of see that with Ace Baldwin handling the point guard duties, and Zach Hicks has started to play a lot better. Nick Kern Jr. has been playing well, and DeMarco Dunn has been playing better. So I think that Penn State is a better ball club without Kanye Clary. I don't. I'm not hating to say that. It's the truth. They're better without Kanye Clary. He was a guy that was really looking for his. He did rarely set up his teammates. The only time I saw him set up his teammates is when he would try to make a play and he couldn't score, then he would pass. It wasn't like he was going into his move to make a play for a teammate. He was always looking for his. And I just think it did not fit with what Mike Rhodes, head coach at Penn State, and his players were trying to do. I think they found great chemistry when Kanye Clary was out with a concussion. And it was kind of obvious when he came back, his numbers were way down. He wasn't getting as much time. It was probably a nice mutual parting between Kanye Clary and the Penn State men's program. So I wish Kanye Clary best of luck. I think he's going to have to wait until the transfer portal opens. I need to get more well-versed on that because the Ohio State players could enter the portal because their coach was fired. So they have a month window to put their name in the portal. I didn't see that anyone has yet from Ohio State, but then there'll be another portal window once the season is over. So be interested to see where Kanye Clary ends up. Michigan State has won 3 in a row. They got the longest winning streak in the Big Ten Conference. They are now tied for 3rd with Wisconsin and Northwestern. So they've really moved up quietly, and they're rounding into March shape like most Michigan State teams do under Tom Izzo. So watch out for the Spartans. I know I get a few questions about that every time I come on. They're rounding into shape. And Malik Hall is finally providing the consistency that he has been lacking for most of his career. But he's starting to put some games together. And what we're going to do is go through the remaining schedules of Purdue, Illinois, Michigan State, Northwestern, and Wisconsin to give you guys a sense of how this thing could shake out down the stretch. All right. This is a pet peeve of mine, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen Coleman Hawkins, Illinois. I've seen Derek Simpson from Rutgers. I saw Tony Perkins at Maryland last week get a technical foul. And then I saw a situation where there's a super fan at Iowa. He's an anesthesiologist. He sits towards center court on the floor on the media side, not on the players and coaches side, but on the media side. So he sits near where I call the games. And so Chucky Hepburn, the starting point guard of Wisconsin, this fan is talking to Chucky Hepburn. And DJ Carstensen, the official, sees this. So I don't know. He kind of tells Chucky to cool out. Tell the damn fan to cool out. Because I'm sensitive to this, guys. Okay? Because I'm a former player. And this double standard is horse manure. It needs to change. Because the fans can say whatever the hell they want to a player. If a player responds, the player gets a technical foul. The rule needs to be if a fan says something to a player on the court and an official picks it up, the home team needs to get a technical foul. That stop all that bullshit. Because it's horse shit is what it is. I get pissed. Doug Sermons is thought of as one of the best officials in college basketball. I got a thorn in my side for Doug Sermons because I've seen him twice in the last week. Stare at a player, follow him once the play is over to see what's going to happen, and then tech him up. Right? That's like a police officer and looking at somebody based on race or gender or whatever. It's garbage. Yeah, I said it, Doug Sermons. I see what you're doing. That's not right. That is not right. To single out players and to follow them when the play is over to see how they're going to respond. Mind your business. There's far more going on in the game than trying to tech these players up. No one comes to see you call techs, Doug Sermons. No one comes to the game to watch officials call techs on the players. Warn the fans when they're running their damn mouths and cursing at players. And you expect the players to not have a response. That's bullshit. Yeah, I said it. I'm cursing because it gets under my skin. It's a double standard that needs to change. All the rules are on the players. They don't have any rules for the fans. They have no rules for the coaches. They have no rules for the freaking officials. All the rules are designed to corral the players. You want the players to play hard. You want them to be team-oriented. You want them to do all this BS, right? But when someone comes at them, they don't get protected. When coaches mistreat players, they don't get protected. The rules aren't set. Did you guys hear what Rick Pitino said about his team? He said, we have unathletic, non-tough players. Did you sign those players, Rick Pitino? Aren't you the head coach? Aren't you supposed to be able to get guys to play defense, even if you have unathletic guys? You signed the contract. You're getting paid. What's wrong with your coaching ability? This thing about regulating players and everything that's wrong with the game revolves around players, that's garbage. There needs to be an awakening in college basketball, and there needs to be some advocacy for the players. You know, they'll say, oh, well, they get the transfer portal and NIL. Man, that thing is 40 years late. We are so late in player advocacy that please miss me with that NIL and transfer portal and that the players get this. No. I'll be 56 in April. I've been associated with the Big Ten Conference for the last 37 years, with college basketball for the last 37 years, right? 38, something like that, 37, 38 years. I know the game. I know the history of this game. And I know horse manure when I see it. And I'm stepping through a lot of it right now. Okay? So NCAA, Big Ten Conference, Big East Conference, all these conferences, get this stuff right. Protect the players. The players are the product. The referees, the coaches, the fans aren't the product. The players are the product. Protect the damn product. All right, I'm off my soapbox. Shit. Pisses me off to no end. All right, we're going to do a Fighting Illini deep dive right now. I had to get that off my chest, man. That's been bothering me. Oh, that's been bothering me. And I don't care. You know what? If I see Rick Pitino or Doug Sermons, they ain't going to kick my ass. So I don't care. I don't care. Look, I was so impressed with Brad Underwood and his staff against Maryland. We know that Brad Underwood does not like to double the post. Guess what we saw yesterday, ladies and gentlemen? Or was it Saturday? I thought it was yesterday. Let me just make sure, because I got hot there. I got a little hot on the collar and lost my train of thought. Okay, it was Saturday. Illinois beats Maryland in a really good game, 85-80. And Brad Underwood and his staff double-teamed Julian Reese early and often. And you know what the end result was, guys? Julian Reese got his numbers, but they were late. Quincy Guerrier didn't get in foul trouble. Coleman Hawkins didn't get in foul trouble. You didn't see Luke Goody having to guard the post late due to foul trouble. And the Illini, yeah, they gave up some points when they were scrambling out of the double team. But I'll tell you what, Brad Underwood continues to impress me, ladies and gentlemen, because he's got principles and he'll make a change when necessary. And guess what? He got his first victory in the Xfinity Center yesterday. Now, I'm not saying they won because of that adjustment, but to me, that shows a lot of growth because I've seen Brad make adjustments throughout his career at Illinois. You guys remember how he was playing the swing offense when he first got there? He brought it with him from Stephen F. Austin in Oklahoma State. He brought it to Illinois, and he saw that with his personnel, it wasn't going to work. So he changed the offense. And recently, in the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen him change his offense based on his personnel. So I was really impressed with the fact that they doubled Julian Reese early. They learned how to rotate out of that double team and get back into position defensively. Yes, there were some possessions where their rotations were a little bit screwed up, but it was something new that they're doing right now. So I tip my hat to Brad Underwood and his staff because that was a hell of a adjustment, and I think it helped them beat Maryland on the road. So right now, I've been called for Nicolo Moretti, maybe Gibbs Lawhorn, a little bit more Dane Danger. But you know what? This is the rotation that we're going to see, ladies and gentlemen, so get used to it, right? Shannon Domask, Gary Hawkins, and Rogers starting 5. Harmon, Goody, Danger coming off the bench. And we saw Hansberry yesterday a little bit. I'm good with the rotation. Obviously, we're going to see Moretti and Gibbs Lawhorn in special situations. You're going to see them play, but I don't expect to see them play consistent minutes. This is the group that Underwood's comfortable with. This is the rotation he's comfortable with. This is what I think that we'll see moving forward. And I liked what I saw against what the Illini did against Maryland because Jahmir Young is scoring on everybody. He's the second leading active scorer in the NCAA. There's only one guy, Max Asmus from Texas, that has scored more points in NCAA than Jahmir Young. He's number 2 all time. He's going to get his points. He got 28. He shot 8 for 23. He got 11 of those 28 points from the free throw line. 8 for 23. That's Terrence Shannon Jr. the majority of the time that's guarding him, right? And Shannon had 4 blocks to go along with 27 points. And Shannon got to the line 16 times. So he's scoring 27 points. He gets to the line 16 times. He has 4 blocks. He's guarding Jahmir Young, who ends up with 28, but he had to take 23 shots to get it. That's outstanding defense, right? And then you look at Julian Reese. Julian Reese only got 8 shots. He was 6 of 8, but he only took 8 shots. He was 6 of 7 from the free throw line, which is really good for him, right? So he had 18 points, 11 rebounds, but he was limited to 8 shot attempts. That's because of the defensive adjustments that the Illini made. Now, Dante Scott broke loose a little bit, had 17 points, but for the most part, the Illini held Maryland to 41%, 4 of 18 from 3. That's 22%. Now, Maryland got to the line a little bit. They were 24-29 from the line. I know the Illini don't want to put them on the line that much, but Julian Reese and Jahmir Young get to the line as well as anybody in the conference. So that's a big win on the road. That's the first time that Underwood has won at the Xfinity Center. And, anytime you get a road win, it's a big win. So big ups to the Illini for that impressive win at Maryland. And, Brad Underwood making the necessary adjustments for them to get the win. All right. Games to watch this week. Tomorrow, I'm on the 1s and 2s with Jack Collinsworth, Peacock, Maryland at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got to find a win somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Maryland does not play nearly as well on the road as they do at home. But remember, they've got to win against Illinois in Champaign. So they're capable of going on the win and getting a victory. So this is a big game for both squads. Maryland at Wisconsin, Peacock, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Me and Jack Collinsworth will be on the 1s and 2s. Wednesday, Illinois at Penn State. And this is going to be on campus. This is not at Bryce Jordan Center, that big cavernous place that's really not made for basketball. They're going to be, I can't remember the name of the hall, but it's a really tiny cracker box of a gym. It's going to be nuts. I'm calling that game, believe with Kevin Kugler. And that's on Big Ten Network at 5:30. That's a 6:30 Eastern start, 5:30 Central Standard Time on Big Ten Network. And then Thursday, I'm on this call as well. Michigan at Northwestern on FS1 at 8 p.m. Northwestern's trying to keep pace. They're trying to stay up with Michigan State and Wisconsin in that tie for third. It'd be interesting to see how they do, because Michigan's going to come in playing with house money. I don't know. Doug McDaniel from Michigan said that he had a 6-game road suspension, but they were going to reevaluate it in spring break. I believe this past week was their spring break. So hopefully we'll get further clarification if Doug McDaniel will be eligible to play at this game, because if he is, Michigan's a whole different ball club with Doug McDaniel at the helm. That's going to be interesting. Thursday, FS1, 8 p.m., Michigan at Northwestern. Saturday, Iowa at Illinois on Big Ten Network, 1:15. And then Sunday, Minnesota at Nebraska. I believe that's on Big Ten Network. That's a big one because Minnesota and Nebraska have at-large possibilities, especially Nebraska. They definitely have at-large possibilities. They got to maintain serve at home. They pasted Penn State over the weekend. So they've got another opportunity against a very good Minnesota team that's trying to stay in the upper echelon. That'll be on Sunday, Minnesota at Nebraska. Okay. Ooh, we got a few comments here. I must have got folks riled up because I was hot. What's up, Rich Dre? I think this is your first time on Bardo's Breakdown. If it is, welcome, my man. Congrats to Terrence Shannon Jr., I believe, was named Big Ten Player of the Week. I root for him because of the mental he has gone through. No doubt, Rich. He's overcome quite a bit to be able to play at the level that he's playing. I love to see it. So congratulations to Terrence Shannon Jr. What's up, Lyle Clark? Referees should go to public address announcers and warn the fans that technical will be called for their conduct. Lyle, you're a nice guy. I appreciate that sentiment. I think that they should make this an announcement. The NCAA should make this an announcement across the board so they don't get a warning. Tech them up, because the warning, if an official has to go to the public address announcer and make an announcement, then that's an egregious act. So to me, there's been enough egregious acts around the conference to where the conference needs to come out and make a statement and have the individual programs alert their fan base. Look, if you say something to these players, there's no warning. There's going to be a technical assessed immediately. That would cut out all that mess, in my opinion. But thank you, Lyle. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. 80 Sports Geek 101. I think this is your first time as well. One thing I'd like to see is the NCAA moving the first round. Move it back to Saturday or Sunday instead of Thursday, Friday. Only 1/6 of the teams that have made the last 3 Big Ten final made the Sweet 16. Penn State. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, man. You talking about moving stuff back. I don't think, I mean, it makes sense, but I don't think it's going to happen. What's up, Mike? Good to see you. We're Michigan State as of right now. Are they getting better? Yes. No. Michigan State's definitely getting better. They've won 3 in a row. They've got the longest win streak in the Big Ten right now. Michigan State's remaining schedule: Tuesday, tomorrow on Peacock, they host Iowa, which would be a good game for them. Iowa playing better, but Michigan State has been really good at home. Then they've got Ohio State Sunday at home. Then March 2nd, they go from Sunday to Saturday, so they got a bye week. So they play Ohio State at home on Sunday. They don't play again until at Purdue on Saturday. That's a lot of time to give Tom Izzo rest and prep time for Purdue. So you guys beware. And I'll say that next week, but March 2nd, Michigan State at Purdue is going to be a hell of a game because Michigan State's going to have 6 days of rest before that game. Then Michigan State hosts Northwestern on Wednesday, March 6th. That's going to be a great game. And then Michigan State finishes up their regular season Sunday at Indiana. So, I mean, definitely Iowa and Ohio State at home are really good opportunities for Michigan State to continue their winning streak. Going to Purdue on 6 days rest is about as good as you can get. Hosting Northwestern Northwestern matches up with Michigan State very well. That'll be a challenging game. And then you're finishing at Indiana, which is always a tough matchup. So I like the way that Michigan State is playing. They're getting much better. And I think they have a favorable schedule to close the regular season. Thanks for tuning in, Mike. Artez Craig. Why is that not working? Let me hide that. There we go. Will Purdue need to win the conference tournament to get the overall number 1 seed? Will Nebraska make the tournament? Right now, Nebraska, I think Nebraska probably needs another quad 1 victory to feel comfortable. But they're certainly most people have them in right now, but you want to be comfortable come Selection Sunday. So Nebraska could use another quad 1 win. Purdue to get the number 1 overall seed is going to be tough because UConn is running roughshod through the Big East. I mean, the way that they pounded Marquette, 81-59, that was the largest victory in conference play between AP top 10 teams ever. It's 81-59. Yeah, that was the biggest win of 2 AP top 10 teams in the same conference ever. UConn is rolling. I don't see them not getting the number 1 overall seed. I don't. Because outside of Marquette, Creighton, a resurgent Butler, Providence, maybe. Outside of that, I don't really see anybody giving them. Seton Hall has beaten them, but Klingon wasn't healthy. He didn't play that game. So it's going to, I think UConn's going to get the number 1 overall seed. Yeah, Imani, I just referenced it. A lot of my friends say outside of Illinois when we have been beaten up on cupcakes. How big is that Purdue? Yep, it's big. But I think that Michigan State's in good shape already. Hey, what's up, Ryan? Love seeing the post traps against Maryland. Definitely need to do that against Purdue to stay with them. It would be interesting to see what Illinois is going to do against Purdue. They may or may not. We'll see. Illinois will have an opportunity because Illinois will play at Wisconsin March 2nd, and they like to post up Stephen Crowell. They'll have another opportunity when they host Minnesota Wednesday, February 28th, because Pharrell Payne had himself a game against Rutgers, and he's starting to play better. I think his lower back is feeling better. So they'll get an opportunity to do it there. Minnesota, Wisconsin, those are 2 teams that have post-up bigs that will be the two games before they host Purdue. So that'll be interesting to see if Illinois continues to utilize that post trap, Ryan. We'll see. No, you know who I hope gets the Ohio State job is Lamont Paris. He's the coach right now at South Carolina. He did a really good job at UT Chattanooga before he got to South Carolina. He was an assistant under Greg Gard at Wisconsin. Also, I think he was on Bo Ryan's staff. I don't know if he was on Bo Ryan's staff, but he was definitely on Greg Gard's staff. Got the job at UT Chattanooga, did a really good job. Got the job at South Carolina. He's got them in tournament contention right now. Are they second or third in the SEC right now, playing very well? They've got some quad 1 victories. I would love Lamont Paris to get the opportunity. Don't be surprised if Greg McDermott's name from Creighton comes up. I've seen Dusty May from Florida Atlantic. I've also seen Sean Miller of Xavier. So those are names that I've heard so far for the Ohio State gig. I've got Big Ten right now. Here's the issue with the Big Ten. They don't have a bottom. Like the Big East has DePaul and Georgetown. Those are pretty much wins for the upper echelon teams. The Pac-12 is not good at all. Their middle is even down. So the Pac-12 definitely has a bottom. The Mountain West Conference, which some people think has the opportunity to put as many teams as the Big Ten, the Mountain West Conference definitely has a bottom. Air Force. The SEC has a bottom. They've got good teams up top. Alabama. Kentucky went into Auburn. Big time win. So you've got Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, South Carolina's good. I'm missing a team in the SEC. Who am I missing? That's pretty good. A&M has kind of faltered a little bit. But the SEC has a bottom as well. Georgia. Florida's really good. Florida has all of a sudden found themselves in the upper echelon. But ACC has a bottom. Boston College, Florida State. The Big Ten doesn't have a bottom. When Michigan can beat Wisconsin, Wisconsin was the second best team in the Big Ten at that point. Michigan beat them. So when your last place team can beat the second place team, that's not a bottom. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? So the Big Ten, Rutgers and Michigan are the two. Let me pull up the standings once again. Okay, so when Michigan with 3 losses has beaten Wisconsin, the number 2 team, Ohio State is the team in second to last place in the Big Ten. They've got 5 wins, and they just beat the number 2 team in the country. So the Big Ten doesn't have necessarily a bottom. They just got a bunch of very competitive teams, like 3 through 14. I mean, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Maryland, Indiana, Rutgers, Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Michigan State, Northwestern, Wisconsin can all beat each other. And all those teams can possibly beat Illinois or Purdue. So I don't know how good the Big Ten is going to do this year, Ron. I think Illinois and Purdue can advance. I was looking at Wisconsin as a second weekend team. I'm not so sure right now. They've got some problems that they've got to rectify. Okay, so great point. I don't blame the referees because when they call a tech on a player who's talking to the crowd, that's an NCAA rule. When the referee, what's the other situation where they call a tech? If the coaches get outside their box, if there's contact above the shoulder, sometimes they'll call a technical foul. That's an NCAA rule. That's not the official's discretion. The problem that I have with the NCAA and their rules is that they've taken a lot of the discretion out of the hands of the referees. The officials used to be able to have a lot of leeway in certain things. They don't have a lot of leeway anymore. So that's why a lot of times I'll say, now there are some BS texts that the officials give from time to time. But for the most part, they're spot on with what they're doing. The officials are really, really good. They get it right about 98% of the time. They're really good. So that's why I say that a lot of times. But good point, AD. I appreciate that. Yeah, Providence. Hey, what's up, Trisha? Providence is good. They're good. Kim English has done an excellent job. They lost their best player, Bryce Hopkins, to a torn ACL. Devin Carter's a beast, and they've got a kid on their roster. Let me pull this up. there's a young man on their roster that I was alerted to today that is he's a freshman and he's a potential lottery pick. Where is this kid? He's a freshman. I was alerted to him today. But, well, maybe not. Hold on. But I love Devin Carter. Josh Oduru is a senior. But Providence is, let's take a look at Providence. They're 5th in the Big East right now. They're 17-9 overall. So they've got to go to Xavier and to at Marquette's a great opportunity for them. That's a quad one opportunity. They host Villanova. They got to go to Georgetown. And then they've got UConn. They host UConn last game of the season. So they've got 2 quad one opportunities. So we'll see. I love what Kim English is doing. I think he's a star in the making. And I think Providence is going to be good for years to come. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Kyrie Thompson? Yeah, he was talking about his grandmother. Yeah, it was a good one. Kyrie is referring to Tony Perkins. I did a post-game interview with Tony Perkins, and he did a segment with Big Ten Network's The Journey, which is a weekly showcase of the stories of players, coaches, and personnel that are around Big Ten programs. And Tony Perkins had a really touching segment about his grandmother and how close he was with his grandmother. And she passed recently. And so after the game, I was interviewing him and he was tearing up. So he said his first comment, and then, I said, all right, where's all this emotion coming from? I said, I love it, but where's all this? I said, wipe your face. I said, no, where's all this emotion coming from? He was talking about his grandmother and what his grandmother meant to him. And she'd have been the loudest person in the gym, and she would have ran on the floor and gave him a big hug and been in the celebration. So it was a touching moment for Tony. And it's something that I appreciate, Kyrie, because, these young men and these coaches, they're human beings, and you don't get to see the human side of them very often. So I was glad that I was a part of that. I was glad that he felt comfortable enough to share his emotions with me. And it was a really neat interview. So Kyrie, thank you very much, man. Thank you for always supporting Bardo's Breakdown. I really appreciate you. Sports chat with Matt. How can we cure cauliflower ear? So thank you, Matt. Matt obviously was listening to one of the games. I think I was on, it was either the Iowa and Maryland game, or it was the Wisconsin at Iowa game. We started talking about cauliflower ear, and I talked on both telecasts about it because we do wrestling promos, because Big Ten wrestling is by far the best in the country. And so I always wondered how these guys get rid of the cauliflower ear. You guys have seen wrestlers and they get their ears smashed all the time, so their ears are swollen. So I'm always like, how do they fix cauliflower ear? I've never figured that out. So I was told that you ice it. Do you know how hard it is to ice your ear? It's got so many nerve endings that it's next to impossible to do. So I don't know how they do it, but it's something that I've always been fascinated with. So Matt, thank you for that. I still haven't figured out how to do it. Now Adam's got a great question. Is it even worth it for the Illini to win the Big Ten Conference Tournament? Anything that you're in, you want to win. It's a natural competitive thing. To have a Big Ten Conference Tournament championship is a big deal. Now, does it wear you out for the NCAA tournament? I kind of think so. I really do. So Adam's got a great point, but there's way too much money on the line with the networks. The way that it's structured, it's not changing. It's not going to change. And so the hope is that somebody gets upset. Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Nebraska. somebody in that group that's already in the tournament gets upset. And so that they don't go all the way to Sunday and run the risk of playing 3 to 4 games over the weekend and not have enough recuperation time because you've got travel time, you've got these different things that are required once you get to the NCAA tournament. So Adam makes a great point. So my hope, because I think it's far more important to have a deep NCAA tournament run and to have an NCAA champion for the first time in 21 or 22 years. I think that's far more important than a Big Ten Conference Tournament championship. So here's rooting for Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Nebraska get upset early in the Big Ten Conference Tournament. Okay, thanks, Matt. Lamont Paris was on Bo Ryan's staff. And he would be a great hire at Ohio State. I agree. I am very confident that Purdue can get to the Final Four. Lance Jones gives Purdue a different element. There's some quickness and toughness in that backcourt and some experience. So quickness, toughness, and experience that Lance Jones brings, I think gives them a different edge about them. And they're a year older. They've got that sting still there. Believe me, guys, there's not a day that those guys don't think about or aren't reminded about what happened last March. So they'll be motivated. I think Purdue is definitely poised for a deep run if they don't have to win the Big Ten Conference Tournament. We'll see. Oh, thank you very much for that. Whoever put that in there. No, Kyrie. UCLA, USC, University of Washington, and University of Oregon all join the Big Ten Conference next season. That's next season. That's 24-25. So, no, they're coming. It's not 2 seasons. They'll be here next year. So, it's going to be something to see. Thank you, Carol Poquette. I appreciate you. Yes, Lyle. Tennessee. Second place to Alabama right now in the SEC. Thank you for that. Curtis Dietz. I don't know. Tennessee still has a chance to win the SEC. Tennessee is the best team. I agree with that. That was a team that I was missing. Florida is hot, though. Florida's caught fire. Watch out for Florida. Alabama's in the mix. Tennessee is in the mix. Kentucky is in the mix. Auburn is in the mix. All right? Watch those 5 teams out of the SEC. South Carolina could get to the second weekend because they play so hard and they play great defense. So watch those guys. Yep. Interesting take. People are talking about the Illini nationally. The people are paying attention. They see what Shannon Jr. is doing. They know about the Illinois. They're not asleep. South Carolina is a dangerous team. I agree. South Carolina is very dangerous. Willard, no timeout. What's the story? Have to extend that game. I think you're talking about the end of the Maryland-Illinois game, Doug. You know what? Sometimes I don't know why coaches maybe they don't want to call timeout because they don't want the other coach to get a chance to set up their defense and change the defense that they're going to do. So you'll see Fran McCaffrey do that. You'll see Steve Peichel do that. Sometimes you'll see Brad Underwood let the guys run into a play so the defense can't adjust in a timeout situation. So I think that's what you saw. No, it's hard to win on the road in the Big Ten. And Ohio State was playing with house money. They lost their coach. They were fired up. They probably had a very spirited week of a few days of practice before Purdue comes in. And you got the number 2 team coming in the country. You're going to give them your best shot. That's college basketball. This is what it is. I don't think Purdue overlooked them. I just think Ohio State played out of their mind. Shaka wouldn't be the only one. Brad Underwood, all of them would. It's not just Shaka. Definitely not just Shaka. I don't know. Kevin Willard's a funny guy. He's an intense guy, but he's a funny guy. So, and he had a nice exchange with Terrence. So I don't know. I don't think it was a big deal. Uh, let's see. Nothing. I appreciate that. No, check it out, Seven, because the tournament resumes have to meet a certain criteria, and unfortunately, a bunch of the Big Ten teams don't. They don't have enough quad one victories. Some of their strength of schedules, non-conference, are really bad. That's where Minnesota's hurt. I get it. Minnesota needed to develop a winning mentality. They needed to get games where they could develop their talent. They had a new backcourt, so I get it. But they've got to get some quad one wins in order for their resume to be more attractive. But a lot of the Big Ten teams, their resumes aren't that attractive. Now, see, this is a problem for the Missouri Valley Conference because that's not good that Indiana State lost to SIU because they want to get at least two teams in. Drake and Indiana State are tied right now for the top of the Missouri Valley Conference. Indiana State's resume had them at large before the SIU game. I don't know what it is now since they lost to the Salukis. So Indiana State I could see them. I don't know about a second weekend team, but I could definitely see them winning an NCAA tournament game with the way that they play. Hey, what's up, Pooh? Jimmy Dice is one of my favorites too. He does a great job. He always reminds me of Dykes. Can't think of his name, but yeah, I mean, Jimmy's one of the best in the business, Pooh. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I've got great respect for him. He's treated me very well throughout my career. He's always been, been a supporter, been very supportive of me. So I thank you very much for that. I man, put me in his category any day. I love that. Curtis, you know what? Actually, it does help. It sometimes it helps, especially the ones that end on Saturday, because it gives the committee time to look at the game and kind of slot it in. So I do think it helps. I do think quality wins in Big Ten conference tournament, not big any conference tournament. I do think it helps. Good point. Don't pick a fight with someone who has cauliflower ear because you'll get beat down. Good point, Matt. Kenny, I don't think they need to improve on much. I think they're right there. I really do. I don't think the Illini. I think Illinois is right there in terms of a deep tournament run. I really don't think they have to improve on much. They've got the crew. They're not going to have a dedicated point guard. It's okay. They've figured out ways to overcome it. I think they'll overcome it. I think they're in great shape right now. Mm. Kalen Creedle. This might be your first time on Bardo's Breakdown. If it is, salute, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Selection committee has also been vocal about conference tournament not mattering in those last 3 days. Kaylee, you're gonna have to expand on that for me, partner. I haven't seen or heard that. Please expand on that for me, please. Todd, you may be one step ahead of me, but I don't think that I don't I don't know. Cross that bridge when we come to it because that pales in comparison to the problem of fans talking to the players. So we'll figure that out. Let me see who I haven't touched, who I haven't asked yet. Maybe it's a good coaching strategy to sandbag the Big Ten tournament. by giving the bench players more minutes. Could be. Could be. We'll see. Rec Hall. Thank you, Doug Peterson. That's where Illinois has to go Wednesday for Penn State. That's going to be a tough game, y'all, because Penn State forces turnovers. They got quickness at the guard position. They do some things that the Illini, have struggled with a little bit, but I think they'll overcome it. But it's going to be a great matchup in Rec Hall. So thank you for that, Doug. Appreciate that. Thomas, I think you're referencing Jameer Young. Nobody stops Jameer Young from getting to the paint. And the Illini aren't the quickest team. They're big across. They've got really good positional size, but outside of Ty Rodgers and Terrence Shannon on the perimeter, they're not quick defensively. So they're going to have some guys beat them off the bounce from time to time, and everybody does. I don't think anybody in the Big Ten is stellar at keeping guys from getting off the bounce in the paint. I don't think that. I think every Big Ten team has that issue. No, I don't think so. Slow down, AD Sports Geek 101. You guys are forgetting history. You guys are forgetting history. No. Don't you guys remember the human fast break? Don't you guys remember D Brown? Y'all don't remember how fast D Brown was when he get the ball in the outlet and it'd be 5 defenders in front of him and he'd still get to the basket for a layup? Y'all don't remember D Brown? He's as fast, or if not faster, than Terrence Shannon Jr. He's definitely not as big, so he did invoke fear into his opponents. D Brown's an All-American and the human fast break is, I remember what they called him. So no, Terrence isn't the most devastating downhill guy in the lineup since Kenny Battle. That would be D Brown. D Brown would be in the mix. So let's get our history right, guys. I know I'm an old head, but come on now, that wasn't that long ago. 2005. Yeah, it was a little while ago. I can't believe it was that long ago. Wow, that's crazy. But thank you for that, AD. You got me thinking there. Indiana's got to win out. They've got to win out to make a tournament to make it to the at-large tournament. They've got to win out and they've got to win some games in the conference tournament because they've got too many losses. Yes, David. He's the most versatile player in the league, and he's the defensive player of the year in the conference. And I don't even think it's close. I really don't. Terrence Shannon Jr. is going to be up for he should be first team all defense. Shannon should be. But I think Coleman Hawkins is the defensive player of the year, and I think he's first team all Big Ten, and he's the most versatile player in the conference. No, it's not overblown. Okay. AD, go back to the second half of Michigan State. It's not overblown because Domask had a costly turnover. Ty Rodgers had a costly turnover. Those are costly turnovers in crunch time. It's gonna come back. Now, can the Illini overcome it? I think they can, but it's definitely not overblown. There's a reason why you have dedicated point guards on your team. All right. So look at Purdue and look at UConn and see that they've got dedicated point guards who can play. Houston, Jamal Shedd, Kansas, DeJuan Harris, Arizona, what's the kid? Lofton. What's his first name? Lofton. I can give you the top 15 teams. Let me do this real quick. I may not even know all these guys, but let me give you so it's not overblown. Rankings. AP top 25. UConn, Stephen Clark is an NBA. He might be a first-round draft pick. Houston, Jamal Shedd, one of the best point guards in the country. Braden Smith, Purdue, one of the best point guards in the country. Lofton from Arizona. Zakai Ziegler from Tennessee. What is this kid's name? From Iowa State, is one of the best players in the Big 12. Tyler Kolek, Marquette. Many think he's the best point guard in the country. Duke with Tyrese Proctor and Tyrese Proctor and he's an old head and he can play. He gets hurt a lot, but he's tough. Kansas, DeJuan Harris, RJ Davis, North Carolina. That's the top 10. 11 Baylor, RJ Dennis, 12 Illini, 13 Alabama. I can go on and on. All these teams except for Illinois have a dedicated point guard in the top 15. Steve Ashworth, Creighton. What's the kid from Auburn? He's got the old man haircut. His name escapes me. All these teams have dedicated point guards. Illinois is the only team that's going without a quote-unquote dedicated point guard. So, no, it's not overblown. But can they overcome it? We'll see. I think so, but we'll see. Not enough, David. We don't get together enough. Let's see. I agree, Curtis. I agree. Terrence can shoot the ball a lot better from the perimeter. Kenny Battle was much more athletic, believe it or not. Terrence could probably match Kenny going full speed, straight line full speed, but laterally and jumping, Kenny Battle's more athletic. So I agree with you on that. If they could win the Big Ten title, it's reasonable they could get a number 2 seed. That's reasonable because they would have Illinois has at Wisconsin would be a quad 1 opportunity. Hosting Purdue would be a quad 1 opportunity. And if Iowa gets hot, that's probably a quad 2 at Iowa. It would maybe a quad 2 opportunity for Illinois. So if they went out the regular season, they would have a chance. Certainly would have a chance. Harmon is kind of a hybrid. Check it out, 7. But he's doing a fantastic job. He had a big 3 to start the second half that really got the Illini going. Kylan Boswell. Thank you, Kevin Lucas. Taman Lipsey. Yes, Iowa State and Jeremy Roach, Duke. Thank you, Kevin. I get a lot going through my head, but those are your point guards right there. Those are all dedicated. UConn's number 1 overall seed right now. We know about Purdue. Iowa State, Taman Lipsey is really, really good. Kylan Boswell. I don't know why I said that. Boswell is who I was thinking of. Kylan Boswell and Jeremy Roach from Duke. Those are all dedicated point guards. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, join the tribe if you'd like, man. Text me 312-847-2739. That's the Inner Circle of Bardo's Breakdown. That's through text. You can join me. Get your free copy of Triple Threat, Stephen Bardo's Guide to Basketball Terminology. It's free, y'all. I don't blow you up. You join the newsletter. Go to bardostribe.com, BARDOS tribe.com. There'll be a pop-up box. Put your email in, and you'll get it automatically. I'd love to have you join the inner circle that is Bardo's Breakdown. Thank you guys for joining. It's a great show. We've got a lot of people on there watching, almost 100 simultaneously watching. I think that might be close to our highest numbers ever. So Thank you all very much for spending your Monday evening with me. Enjoy the rest of your week. Check back for more updates. And until next time, holla, y'all.